Namaste. My name is Megan. Welcome to Flowing Hatha with Unity Life Yoga. If you look below in the description to the video, there is a link to a playlist that I used to create this lesson plan. You are welcome to use that playlist or any other music that you choose. If you have that playlist open, we'll go ahead and hit this play at the same time. We'll hit play when I say play. So 3, 2, 1, play. We're going to begin in Tadasana. So we'll come to the very front of your mat. We're going to bring the feet together as close as is comfortable. If your heels are together and that's uncomfortable for your ankles, you can go ahead and separate your heels a little bit. Maybe your big toes are all the way together, maybe they are not. Tucking the tailbone under just slightly, knees are not locked, just a slight bend to the legs. Rolling the shoulders back, shoulder blades drawn down along the spines, palms open wide, fingers flexed. Just taking a few breaths here, feeling nice and strong. On your next inhale, bring the arms overhead. We're going to make sure we keep the shoulders pulled down with the shoulder blades still drawn down alongside the body, making sure that your tailbone still has that slight tuck to it and that you're not pushing your hips out and towards the back. Feeling as though your shoulders are directly over your hips, hips are directly over your feet. On your next exhale, we're going to open the arms nice and wide and then swan dive all the way down, taking a forward fold here, Uttanasana. If this is your first forward fold of the day, don't push it, just kind of relax down into it. Keeping the knees just slightly bent, not to lock them, head is heavy. On your inhale, we'll lift halfway, bringing the hands to the shins, making the back parallel to the floor. Crown of the head is reaching forward. And on your next exhale, we'll fold forward again. This time we're going to take ragdoll arms, clasping the elbows with the opposite hand, and maybe just kind of swaying from side to side a little bit. Maybe pedaling the knees just a little bit, bending one knee and straightening the other. Coming back to the center of your fold, we're going to bend the knees just slightly. And on your inhale, we're going to come all the way up to standing, straightening the legs as you come up. Arms come overhead, Urdhva Hastasana, shoulder blades pulled down. And on your exhale, we'll bring the hands down to heart center. Pranamasana. And here we set our intention to move and breathe mindfully, have patience within our practice, and experience peace in every breath. We're going to go ahead and do all those movements again, just a little bit faster with our breath. So on an inhale, we bring the arms overhead. Exhale, folding forward, swan diving down. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, bending the knees just slightly, inhaling all the way up, straightening the legs, arms come overhead, exhale, hands to heart center, Pranamasana. Same thing again. Inhaling the arms up, separating the palms. Exhale as you swan dive down. Inhaling to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, bending the knees just slightly. Inhaling all the way up, palms come overhead, exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to step the feet just a little bit wider than hip distance here. On your next inhale, we'll bring the arms overhead, keeping the palms together, slight back bend. Exhale, arms come wide, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, we come all the way back up, palms together, slight back bend. Exhale, hands to heart center. Same thing once more. Inhaling the arms up, slight back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. And fold again. Coming all the way up, arms overhead, slight back bend, palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. So in here, we're going to open the feet up even more, wider than the mat. Inhaling the arms all the way up, slight back bend. Exhale, forward fold, bending the knees. Inhaling, halfway lift, straightening the legs, bending the knees, gathering arms down. Inhaling all the way overhead, slight back bend, hands at heart center. Once more, inhale the arms up, swan dive down, bending the knees. Inhaling back up, halfway lift. Bending the knees once more as you swoop down. Inhaling all the way up, slight back bend. Exhale, hands come to heart center. From here, we're going to keep the feet nice and wide, toes pointing forward, making sure that the tailbone is tucked under and not pushing the booty out and the chest out, okay? We're going to bring the arms out to the sides, star pose, palms pointed down. Going ahead and just taking a few deep breaths here. We're going to begin turning the toes to the left. Back foot comes on 45 degrees, right foot 90 degrees. Arms are the same, torso is the same, gaze is over that now front arm. Exhale as you tilt down as you sink down into warrior two. Flipping your front palm, inhale as you scoop forward, leaning forward, and then exhale, peaceful warrior, tilting the arms back, making sure that front knee is still bent, reaching that upper arm way back. And then on your next exhale, we'll come back into our warrior two, making sure that the torso isn't pulled forward, but that it's nice and high, perpendicular to the floor. And then we'll move back into our star pose, turning the feet back to the front, tucking the tailbone underneath. And then we're going to go ahead and begin turning the feet the opposite direction. Exhale as you sink down into warrior two. Gaze is over the new front arm. Flipping that palm, inhaling as you scoop all the way forward. Exhale as you tilt back, peaceful warrior. Making sure that front knee is still bent over the ankle. Coming back into our warrior two. And then we'll move back into our star, straightening the feet once more. We're going to go ahead and take that movement within a flow. So on your inhale, we'll begin turning the torso to the left. Exhale as you sink down into that knee. Flip the palm. Inhaling as you scoop forward. Exhale as you tilt into peaceful warrior. Inhaling back to warrior two. Exhale to star. Inhaling as you turn to the opposite side. Exhaling as you come down into that knee. Flip the palm. Inhale as you lean forward. Exhale, tilting back into peaceful warrior. Inhaling right back, warrior two. Coming back into star. Opposite side. We'll do it 2 more times on each side. Flip that palm, scoop forward, and peaceful warrior. Coming back for our warrior two, and into star. Turn the feet to the opposite direction. Exhale as you sink down into that knee. Flip that front palm, scoop forward. Exhaling, peaceful warrior. Warrior two, star. Once more on each side. Just moving with your own inhales and exhales. If your breath is a little bit longer than mine, that's okay. Just move with your own breath. If you make a mistake, that's okay too. Just keep moving intentionally, staying with your breath. The next time you come into star pose, we'll go ahead and turn the feet forward and bring the hands to the hips, rolling the shoulders forward, bringing the elbows forward just to take a nice stretch across the back. We're going to draw the feet in. Toes close together, big toes close together, feet spread wide. Big toes close together. Toes in generally spread out. Whew. On an inhale, we'll bring the arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Drawing the knees together, we're going to exhale as we sink down into Utkatasana, chair pose, tucking the tailbone under and engaging the core, feeling as though you're drawing your belly button in towards your spine, keeping the shoulder blades drawn down along the spine. On your next inhale, we're going to take a big step back with the left foot. Coming into high lunge, so we're up on the back toes. Heel is not on the mat in the back. Torso's turned to the front of the mat. On your next exhale, we'll come down onto that back knee. Push the hips forward, bringing the arms down, open and wide. Taking a back bend here, bringing the gaze overhead. Crescent lunge with dragon arms. On your next inhale, we'll push the hips back, bringing the arms overhead. Exhale, folding forward, extending the spine long over that extended leg. Spine is long, we're not aiming to bring our forehead down to our leg. On your next inhale, we'll push that front knee forward and bring the arms overhead, crescent lunge. Exhale, bringing them down into that dragon position once again. If you're not up on the toes in the back, go ahead and come up onto the toes, knee still on the mat. On our next inhale, we're going to press up into our high lunge. Arms overhead, crown of the head reaching straight up. On your next exhale, we're going to tilt the torso forward slightly, taking a big step forward, coming into our chair pose. And when you've reached your chair pose, we'll exhale, just sinking a little bit lower. Again, we're tucking that tailbone under. If you feel any discomfort in the small of your back, just tuck the tailbone under a little bit more. And on your next inhale, we'll rise all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, checking in with the shoulder blades, making sure that they're drawn down. On your next exhale, we'll sink down into chair pose once again. On your next inhale, we'll take that big step back with the right leg, staying up on the toes, high lunge. Torso is perpendicular to the mat, crown of the head is reaching long, shoulders are pulled down. Staying up on the back toes. And on your next exhale, we'll bring the back knee down to the mat, push the hips forward, bring the arms down for our dragon arms. Taking that back bend here, crescent lunge. On an inhale, we're going to bring the arms overhead, pushing the hips back, staying up on the back toe. Exhale, coming down for our runner's stretch. Torso is perpendicular to the mat, gaze is just down. Inhale, pushing the knee forward, arms overhead, and then exhale, bringing the arms back down for our dragon arms. Keeping those back toes tucked under. On our inhale, we're going to press up into high lunge, arms come overhead once more. Exhale, tilting forward slightly, and then we push forward, coming into our chair pose once more. Tucking that tailbone under. And then inhale, rise. Hands will come to heart center. So once more, we're going to take all of those movements with an inhale and an exhale. And we'll just move a little bit faster through each of those poses with our breath. So on an inhale, we'll bring both of the arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling as you sink down into chair pose. Inhale, big step back with the left leg, high lunge. Coming down onto that knee, we take that crescent lunge with the dragon arms. Inhaling the arms up, hips back. Exhale, fold forward, runner stretch. Inhaling as you bring the knee forward, arms come overhead, and then exhale them nice and low. Inhaling the arms overhead as you press up into high lunge. Exhaling as you tilt forward, coming all the way forward into chair pose. Exhale, sinking down. Inhaling, rising all the way up. Same thing, opposite side. Exhaling as you sink down. Inhaling, bringing that right leg back, high lunge. Sinking down, crescent lunge, dragon arms. Inhaling the arms overhead, hips back. Exhaling, forward fold for runner stretch. Knee comes forward, arms come overhead, and on your exhale, we bring the arms back for dragon arms. Inhaling, we press up to high lunge. Exhale, tilting forward. Inhale, taking that big step forward. Exhale, sinking down into chair. Inhale, rising, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands come to heart center, Pranamasana. Here, we'll just take a few more breaths. Maybe keeping the eyes closed, just kind of taking a moment to recover. From here, we're going to begin shifting our balance over to our right foot. We're going to lift our left foot up, bringing the knee up, holding on to the knee. Maybe taking any ankle rolls that feel good here. And then we're going to bring that foot in for tree. Your tree can be down with the toe on the ground. It can be up with the foot against the calf, not against the knee because it's not safe for your standing knee. Or you can use your ankle and kind of hoist your leg up to your sacral area. Hands will come to heart center, finding that drishti or unmoving focal point. On an inhale, we're going to begin moving the arms overhead. We're going to take the right wrist in the left hand and begin taking a little side bend here, pushing that foot into the leg to really increase the stretch. And we'll go ahead and release both arms overhead. Exhale, bringing the left arm down. And we're going to make a letter S with our arms. On an inhale, we'll open the arms all the way out to the side. Exhale, letter S with the arms in the other direction. Inhaling them wide, letter S. We'll just flow a little bit right here. If you're having trouble here, that's okay, and you just want to concentrate on maintaining a tree that is not moving. Go ahead and you can just bring the hands to heart center. Taking one last open arm, and then bring the hands to heart center once more. From here, we're going to release that foot down, taking a medium-sized step back, curling the toes under, pressing into the mat to really get a nice stretch on the top of the foot. Hands at heart center. And return that foot to our standing Pranamasana, and then we'll begin shifting our balance over to our left foot. We're going to take that standing knee squeeze here. Right knee comes up, and we roll that ankle around if that feels good. And then we'll bring that leg in for our tree as well. Wherever your tree is happiest, except for against the knee. Hands at heart center. And when you found that unmoving focal point, we'll raise the arms overhead. This time we're going to take the right hand and grab the left wrist, taking that little bit of a side bend here. And then returning the arms overhead, we're going to drop that right arm down and make that letter S. Inhaling the arms wide, exhale, letter S with the opposite arms. And go ahead and do this flow. And again, if this isn't quite working for you, that's okay. Go ahead and just bring the hands to heart center. Taking one last letter S, we'll bring the arms nice and wide. And then hands come back to heart center. And we release that foot down nice and gently. And we're going to take that medium-sized step back. Tucking the toes underneath, really getting a nice stretch on the top of the foot. And we're going to go ahead and step that foot forward, bringing the feet together. Inhaling the arms overhead, separating the palms. Exhale as you bring them behind you, clasping the shoulders, roll the shoulders back. On your next exhale, we'll fold forward just halfway, bringing the arms over the shoulders, bending the knees, coming up onto the toes, keeping the back parallel to the floor, sparrow pose. Release the heels down, inhaling the arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, coming back to that same hand grab behind the back, except this time we'll fix the fingers the opposite direction, the more awkward way. Exhale, folding forward, back is parallel to the mat, bending the knees, lifting the heels off the mat, sparrow pose. And exhale as you release everything down to the mat. If you're not quite centered towards the front of your mat, go ahead and just kind of shift over a little bit. If you're not, if you're too far forward, that's okay. We'll go ahead and take a couple little steps back. We want to be about 6 to 8 inches from the top of the mat. Just in a nice forward fold here. We're going to begin bringing our balance onto our right leg, okay? And then we're going to begin floating the left leg up, maybe even higher than the hips, coming into a standing split. For an added balance challenge, you can take your right hand and bring it to your right calf. Gaze can be down on the floor at your foot, or it can be behind you. Trying to keep that lifted leg nice and straight. We're going to drop both hands to the floor if they're not already there. We're going to begin bringing that leg parallel to the mat. And then nice and slow, we're going to begin lifting our left arm, floating it up for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Hip is out to the side, foot is flexed, pointing out to the side as well. Nice full breaths here. And then slowly we're going to take a diagonal step back, bringing that left leg to the outside of the mat, sweeping that hand down, and then inhale, bringing both of the arms up, keeping the head down, spine is long for a nice big yoga curtsy. Arms are reaching up, feeling it in the triceps. On your next inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up, keeping the feet where they are, taking a nice little back bend here, gaze comes overhead. Arms are as open as you'd like them to be, but shoulders are still pulled down. Nice long neck. From here, we're going to bring our hands to our heart center, push that back leg forward. We're going to bring that back foot Toe comes to the knee, knee is pointed forward. Then begin flexing the foot, hands at heart center. We're going to press that foot back behind us as we tilt the torso forward, warrior three with the hands at heart center. Toe and knee are pointed downwards, aiming for a long line from the crown of the head all the way to the heel. And bringing that back foot down, we fold forward once more. We're going to shift our balance to the left leg, inhaling that right leg up, standing split. And again, you have that option of lifting the left hand and bringing it to the back of the calf. Keeping that extended leg nice and straight. If your hand is on your calf, go ahead and bring it down to the mat. We're going to begin taking that leg parallel to the mat, floating on an inhale, that right arm up, coming into half moon. Toe and knee of the extended leg are pointing out to the right. One more nice full breath here. And then we'll release that foot down, taking a diagonal step back outside of the mat. Right hand comes down to the mat. On an inhale, we'll sweep the arms back, lifting them up over the shoulders. Crown of the head reaches forward, still in that bowed curtsy pose. On your next inhale, we'll bring the torso up, sweeping out of that curtsy with the arms, taking a slight back bend. Arms can be as open as you like them to be, gaze is overhead. We're going to begin taking that step forward, hands come to heart center, toe comes to the knee, lifted foot is pointed with the knee forward, begin flexing that foot, heel is at the knee, press the foot back as you tilt into our warrior three with the hands at heart center. Toe and knee of the extended leg are pointed downwards, aiming to keep the back, or the whole lifted portion of the body, parallel to the ground. One more full breath. And then on your exhale, we'll return to our forward fold, bringing the hands and feet down towards the mat. Begin taking any movements that feel good here. Maybe pedaling the knees, really shifting one hip back and then the other hip back. Bending the knees enough to really bring the palms down to the mat. We'll step the feet back and we're going to come into a tabletop pose. From here, we're going to do some cat-cow breaths. We want to make sure that the knees are underneath the heels. The knees are underneath the hips. Wrists underneath the shoulders. On your inhale, we'll bring the tailbone up, belly drops down, head looks up. Opposite on your exhale, tailbone rounds under, back rounds up, head drops down. We'll go ahead and do that a few more times, moving with your own breath. Aiming to start your movement with your hips, and then flow that movement forward through your back, and then to the crown of your head. And then the next time you come into a neutral back, go ahead and make sure that you're still centered over your wrists. We're going to take your left foot back as far as it will go, come onto the toes. Right foot back as far as it will go, come onto the toes. Perfect plank pose. If you would like, you can come down onto the knees. Just keep those toes right where they are. Want to feel as though your core is engaged. You're pressing your hands into the mat. Tailbone is tucked under. From here, we're going to flip the feet and then slowly allow the hips to come down to the mat. They don't actually come all the way down to the mat. We're moving into upward facing dog. So the hips reach towards the mat, crown of the head reaches upwards. Knees are up off of the mat. On your exhale, we'll flip the feet, press the hips into downward facing dog. Feet are hip distance apart, hands are shoulder distance apart. Hips are reaching up, making a triangle with your body. From here, we're going to lift your left, actually we're going to bring your left foot in towards the center and inhale your right leg all the way up, three-legged dog. And if you'd like, you can roll that ankle around a little bit. And then on your next inhale, we're going to push forward into a three-legged plank. If you would like, you can drop that knee down to the mat, but we're going to keep that right leg up off of the mat for now. And then lower it back down, pressing back into downward facing dog. If your hands are sliding around a little bit, it's okay. Go ahead and just adjust to where they need to be. I'm going to step that right foot in towards center, inhaling the left leg up, taking any ankle movements that feel good. And then we'll go ahead and inhale the shoulders forward, coming into that three-limbed plank pose. And again, you do have that option to come down onto the right knee. And bring that foot down to the mat. Come to the knees if you're not already there. We'll sink the hips back, bringing the tops of the feet to the mat as well. Just going to take a child's pose here. You can keep your arms extended forward if you like, or you can bring your hands back towards your feet. Forehead comes down to the mat. And if it's not comfortable for you to have your knees directly underneath your chest, you can open your knees outward and allow your chest to come between your knees. And again, whichever arm position is more comfortable for you is good. On your next inhale, we're going to lift the torso up. If your knees are out wide, go ahead and bring them in underneath your hips. We're going to come down onto your forearms here. Extend that left leg back, extend the right leg back, coming into a dolphin plank. If you would like, you can come down onto the knees here as well. Just want to make sure we're keeping our feet in the same place. Tailbone is tucked under. Gaze is between the forearms. Pressing the elbows into the mat. Palms too. If you're not on the knees already, go ahead and come down onto the knees, and we are going to very slowly and controlled begin lowering the hips down to the mat until the crown of the head comes lifting nice and high. Gaze is forward, Sphinx pose. On your exhale, we're going to begin lowering your chest down to the mat, reaching your right or both of your arms forward. Chin comes down to the mat, tops of the feet come to the mat. We're going to begin reaching your left hand back, bending your right knee. We're going to reach for that foot. If you got your foot, wonderful. If you don't, that's okay. Just keep reaching towards it. We're going to try to lift the other two limbs up off of the mat into a locust pose. So we're combining locust with half bow. We're not really pressing that foot up for a nice big bow. We're just kind of keeping it low key right now. And exhale everything back down. Full prostration. And then we're going to use the opposite limbs. So this time we'll reach the right arm back. Left foot bends. Reaching for that foot. If you can't reach it, that's okay. We're going to press up into that locust bow combination. If you're not holding on to your foot, it might just look something like this, where you're reaching that hand towards the foot. And exhale everything back down, full prostration. And now we're going to aim for that full bow. So we're going to bend the knees, and then we're going to lift the chest off the mat, reach towards the feet. Again, if you can't reach the feet, that's okay. Just keep reaching towards them. If you can, roll the shoulders back, really press up into that full bow. Neck should be wherever it is comfortable. Maybe it's more comfortable for you to be looking down. Maybe straight ahead or maybe upwards, whatever is most comfortable for your neck. Nice full breaths, making sure that the knees are in along the same line as the hips and that the legs aren't splayed outwards. And exhaling everything down, hands come underneath the chest, tucking the toes underneath. Begin engaging your core muscles, elbows drawn in, press up through, and plank on the knees. Begin walking the knees forward, all the way to the hands, cross the ankles, and then begin to sit back onto your bottom. Want to make sure you have room behind you for your head here. We're going to draw the soles of the feet together. Hands come to the toes or to the ankles. And here we're just going to sit up nice and tall in a bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana, pushing, using our leg muscles to push the knees down. And releasing those muscles, releasing the hands, we're going to take the left leg and bring it around behind us as we scoot the right foot over towards the edge of the mat, the left edge of the mat. We're going to come into a pigeon pose here. You want to make sure that your sacral area has some distance between it and the mat. We're not sitting down on the outside of that right thigh. We're sitting up nice and tall. Up on the fingertips, shoulder blades are drawn down along the back. Right foot is flexed, not pointed with the toes. Nice deep breaths here, really taking that stretch on the front of the left hip. And on your next exhale, we'll release down and roll a little bit onto the outer edge of the right thigh. We're going to bring the left leg all the way forward. We're going to take our right foot and kind of draw it up to support your lower left thigh bottom area. Making sure you're sitting nice and tall. We're going to take the left foot into the hand, maybe hold on to the ankle instead, wherever you're more comfortable. We're going to bring it up. You can stop right here and half Karen if you'd like, or you can bring it all the way up. Toe is pointed towards the ceiling, whether you're up here or down here. Toes pointed towards the ceiling. Making sure the spine is long, crown of the head, reaching upwards. Just taking a nice breaths here, nice full breaths. And on your next exhale, we're going to begin lowering that leg down, crossing it to the outside of the opposite thigh. Sole of the foot goes to the mat. Right now, our right foot is underneath our sits bone. Go ahead and zhuzh it forward a little bit so you can sit evenly on both sits bones. On an inhale, we're going to bring the arms overhead. Exhale, taking a twist to the left. You can hug the knee in or bring the elbow to the outside of the knee to enhance that twist. Hand comes to the heart, or it can be pointed upwards. Left hand is supporting a nice long spine on the mat. You can turn the neck to follow that twist. You can have it straight forward, or maybe you'd like to look down to get a neck stretch. And then we're going to release from that whole stretch on an inhale, coming back into our bound angle pose once more. I'm going to sit up nice and tall, hold on to the feet or the ankles. This time, on your exhale, we're going to bring the torso forward, keeping a nice long line from this tailbone all the way to the crown of the head, maybe even using your elbows to press against your shins to elongate your spine. Again, this is not one of those stretches where we're aiming to bring our nose to our toes. We want to keep a long spine here. and this time we're going to send our right leg back for our pigeon. Left foot comes to that right edge of the mat. So we want to sit up nice and tall. Sacral area is not on the mat. Coming up onto those fingertips. And again, we're not sinking down onto that left outer thigh. Nice and tall. Shoulder blades still drawn down along the spine. Pressing that right leg into the mat to really increase the stretch on the front of that right hip. And now we'll go ahead and sink down to that left thigh. We'll bring the right leg around front, bringing that foot underneath that sits bone area, and then we lift the right leg for either half heron or whole heron. Toes pointed up towards the ceiling. Spine is long, crown of the head is reaching upwards. Nice full breaths here. Checking in with your spine, making sure you're sitting up tall. And then we're going to lower that leg down to the opposite side of the thigh, removing that left foot so we can sit nice and tall on both sits bones. Inhaling the arms overhead, exhale, taking that twist to the right. Again, you have all those different arm options and all the different neck options. On your inhale, we'll untwist. And we're going to bring our feet out in front of us. Toes pointed upwards. Removing any fluff from underneath your sits bones so they can really sink down into the mat. Toes pointed upwards. On an inhale, you bring the arms overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Coming into a Paschimottanasana, a seated forward fold. Reaching the chest far towards the feet. Maybe bending the elbows and using the hands to draw your spine longer by holding on to your calves or your ankles or your feet. Letting your head be heavy. On your next inhale, we'll bring the hands to the floor and walk the torso back up. We're going to draw the feet in, soles of the feet on the mat, knees pointed upwards, rounding the back nice and slow. We're going to slowly bring the mat back down to the mat. Bringing the feet in towards your bottom as close as you can bring them. Palms down on the mat. If your head isn't on your mat, go ahead and scoot forward just a little bit. On your next inhale, we're going to begin floating the hips up as we float the arms up as well. Bringing the arms just overhead. Hips are up. Exhale, everything right back down. Inhale, floating the hips up, arms overhead. Exhale, back down. We're going to float them up one more time. Exhale, back down. And this time, as you float your hips up, we'll bring the hands underneath the hips, clasping the hands if you can, really rolling the shoulders underneath, pressing the feet into the mat to really lift the hips into our bridge pose. And on your next exhale, we'll release the hands, bringing the hips down to the mat, unrolling the shoulders, bringing the knees into the chest, holding on to the hamstrings or even wrapping your arms around your hamstrings. We're going to begin rocking forward and backwards. Just getting a nice Massage on our spine. And the next time we rock forward, we're going to come into a boat pose. If you'd like, you can just stay right here, or you can reach towards the feet, both feet. Begin trying to straighten the legs coming into Parabhustasana. Hand to foot pose in a balance here. And then nice and slow, we're going to begin rolling all the way back, maybe still holding on to the feet, coming into a plow pose. Hands are reaching long, toes are on the mat over the head. If this is not comfortable for you, that is okay. You can try coming into a shoulder stand, bringing the feet overhead. They don't need to be all the way overhead. Maybe you just want to hang out with the legs at an angle, and that's fine. And if this is all still a little uncomfortable for you, you can just bring the feet up into the air, bringing the hands wherever is comfortable. Just a few more breaths wherever you are. If you're in plow pose with your legs over your head and your toes on the mat, if you feel any breathing restriction, nice and slowly come out of it. If you're in plow or in shoulder stand, slowly bring your back down to the mat. We're going to bring our knees towards our armpits, reaching our hands to our toes, ankles, or calves. Happy baby. Really letting your hands pull your knees down towards your armpits even more, maybe even rocking from side to side. And then nice and slow, we're going to bring our knees together over our chest, and if you'd like, you can rock from side to side. Centering yourself in this knee to chest pose, we'll go ahead and bring the feet down to the mat. Feet are comfortably apart. On an inhale, we'll bring the arms along the mat all the way overhead. On your next exhale, we're going to allow the knees to fall to the left as we sweep the arms to the right. Peace pose, making sure we release all the muscles in the legs and the hips and the glutes. On your next inhale, we'll come back to the center. And then exhale, the legs and the arms into the opposite direction. Really making sure we're releasing those hip muscles. Inhaling back to center. We're going to draw the knees in towards each other as we toe heel, the feet apart. Allowing those knees to really fall inward, getting a good stretch on the outer hips and glutes. Clasping the hands, we'll lift the head slightly, bringing the hands underneath the head. Let your head be heavy in your hands and maybe nod your head from side to side. Just get a nice neck stretch in here. And then we'll bring the head back down to the mat. Arms are going to come out to the sides. We're going to draw the feet in towards each other, allowing the soles of the feet to come together, and we allow the knees to fall out to the sides. Arms are just relaxing out to the sides. If you would like, you can stay in this supine bound angle pose for our relaxation portion, or you can move into Shavasana, where you bring the arms kind of long on the mat, out comfortably out to the sides. You draw your knees together and then lay the legs down on the mat for a Shavasana pose. So now we're just going to take a few minutes, relax our minds, let our bodies be calm, and be with our own breath. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. And begin making any small movements that bring your awareness back to the here and now. Maybe wiggling the fingers and toes, rolling the ankles or wrists, nodding the head from side to side. ready, slowly make your way onto your right side in a fetal pose. And we'll just take a few more breaths here. And then nice and slowly, maybe even with your eyes still closed, begin to make your way into a comfortable seated position. And we'll just take a few more breaths together. And then slowly begin to blink your eyes open. Thank you so much for being with me and breathing with me today. The divine light in me sees and honors the divine light in you. Om Shanti Shanti. Peace be with you. Thank you.